Wasn't it great to be a kid? Remember being a kid and we all had big dreams, big goals, big plans. But then as we age, we realize that it's always not the big things that count. It's the little things that matter
Yeah.
the most. Maybe you're feeling like you somehow missed out on the big plans that you had, that you never really made it big. You never wrote that great American novel. You never ran a corporation, made millions. But will that really matter to you when you die? This is Finish Strong, and I'm Dan Wheeler, and Brian Rowland and Terry Steen are here, and our producer, John Matarazzo. We're all here, guys. I know we all had big dreams as kids. Tell me about yours.
Well, I'll tell you, I, like everybody else who dreamed about sports, and I always shot that last shot maybe a dozen times to get to the buzzer beater, in the driveway, or catching the pass that's going to win the touchdown. And I always thought of that until I shattered my kneecap and split my thigh, and then I knew that was over with. So those kind of dreams went away right away. But yeah, it's great to have big dreams and then set goals and go to achieve them.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I guess we all love sports so much, and growing up, that's what really jazzed me and brought me happiness. And I was always a smaller and shorter until later in life. So baseball was kind of my only hope. I wasn't big enough to know I could go very far in some of the other sports. And then, of course, reality ended up setting in there as well. And that dream faded away. So, yeah, some of those young dreams don't materialize, do they?
Yeah, when we were playing pickup baseball, we always would put our bikes out in the outfield as a home run fence, and we always made sure to put them close enough so we could all hit a lot of home runs. Back she goes. It's out of here. Yes. Dan Wheeler wins the game with a walk-off home run. Those were great dreams. But, I think as we get older, we realize it's not always the big stuff. In fact, if you don't pay attention to the little things, the big things will never happen, and your whole life could fall apart.
That's
It's really true. Give me an example of something somebody has done for you lately that was a little thing but made a difference. Brian, you got one?
Well, I'll tell you, it's not lately, but there was something that turned around my career and what I was doing. One time, after I started in broadcasting, I decided I wanted to do movies, and that was my goal. And I was going to be a director. And of course, that kind of went away. And so I ended up not doing that. But the way the media was changing, going from broadcast into the new medium, what we're doing here right now, I needed to get involved somehow. I needed to learn this business. And a fellow believer, John Lewis, he called me one day and said he wanted me to meet somebody. And that was my boss over at TotoCast. And that was doing the live pay-per-view events over the internet and just learning the whole setup. And just out of nowhere, he just thought of me and tied me and put me together with Brian, was my boss's name. And there we go. That's what do they say? The rest is history.
Yeah.
But it was just that little thing he did. I had no idea there was working behind the scenes what God was doing, but he did that, and that's what happened.
The other day, my neighbor came down. I was working on my sprinkler system, which I seem to spend a lot of time with down here in Florida. Oh my goodness! Can't wait to go to Michigan where you don't have sprinkler systems.
Oh,
It just freezes.
yeah.
Everything freezes. The pipes and breaks.
Yeah, but this guy came down and spent some time with me, and wouldn't you know that 5 minutes when he programmed my Rainbird turned into an hour and a half discussion about the Lord, and just turned out we had a great time. And he is a believer, and he wants to know the Lord better. So he's going to follow us on Fearless Faith with what we're doing. So that was kind of neat. How about a little thing you did for someone recently?
I can think of one right off the top. I'm thinking right now. Well, we have a neighbor who recently had a stroke, and his wife is just they're older couple, and she's handed everything. She's supposed to be taking care of everything in the house that's going on now. So all of our neighbors have pitched in, and Deb put a schedule together, and they have 2 dogs, and so every day we have a schedule where we will walk their dogs and take care of it. So Val has a chance to to eat. She has a chance to spend time with her husband alone while he's home now, but she's taking care of him. She's the caregiver, and so that's the little things that we're doing to participate and to help her, so that it can relieve her and her duties. And the same thing happened when we did the hurricanes here. We all just chipped in and we're putting the shutters on the windows for everybody and that, and picking up all the furniture, lawn furniture, and that. Those are the little things that make a difference.
May seem like a little thing, but to her, it allows her to live her life and do the things she needs to do right now with her husband. So it's helping her live. That's a good one. Terry, do you ever do anything for anybody else?
Well, it's very rare, but I've had to go back, and I'm having trouble.
I knew this would be a tough one for you.
Does Karen do anything for anybody?
I was wondering, you guys, why you were doing all the talking and you really weren't including me, because you knew I would just embarrass myself.
We were like, boy, we don't know if Terry's going to come through on this one.
I'll tell you what does come to my mind is marriage and relationships. And when you think about the little thing, our lives are made up of the little things when you really get down to it. The big things don't happen very frequently. So if we were just focused on the big things, we'd be in trouble. If your spouse is just waiting once a year to get a Valentine's gift and think that's communicating love, she wants to hear "I love you" every day. That's the way that works. Karen and I are doing a married couples, young married couples small group in our church. And one of the things we're encouraging each couple to do is what we call have a submission competition. How can you submit? Let's compete. And we're saying race to the back of the line. What can you do for your spouse? Try to outgive your spouse. And so that's Karen and I were at lunch, fixing lunch here. I think it was yesterday. And we had some leftovers. And Karen was like, hey, let me make you some rice to go with those leftovers. And so I thought, oh, thank you. And so the competition begins. So then I go, I'm going to wash these dishes while you're fixing the rice. So I'm washing the dishes. And then she gets done with that and goes, hey, your chicken pieces are too big. I'm going to cut those in half for you. And I'm like,
oh my
no,
goodness.
What can I do? But it's the little things that mean so much to us.
Yeah. You didn't go out and clean the garbage can with a toothbrush or something?
I didn't go that far.
Well, I helped with a little thing that turned out to be a big thing this past weekend. Brian was sleeping and his wife Deb was out.
Brian wasn't feeling good. He wasn't feeling well.
Okay, Brian wasn't feeling good.
Thank you.
And she was working, pulling these big, thick grasses out. And I thought, oh, man, I should go out and offer to help her. And I went out and she had this huge one and we got it up in the car. It's all these grasses and then there's a huge clump of dirt on it. We tried to knock the dirt off. Well, we got it up to this dumpster and I got under where the clump of dirt was because I thought I need to be the man here. And man, as we were pushing it up and over, I just felt something. And as you know, I'm doing this podcast with an ice pack on my back.
Well, she said it was pretty light.
Thing. Right. Well, hey. You've seen Terry with those 1 pound weights. That had to be 2 pounds. That's right. But I did not long ago. I had a ton of groceries, and there was a guy behind me, and I looked, and he had like 3 or 4 things. I said, "Hey, man, go ahead. I'm going to be here a while." He said, "Really?" He acted surprised. I'm like, "Yeah, of course." I mean, there was a little thing, but he really appreciated it. He was in a hurry. And I've had that done for me too, and it always makes you feel good when someone's willing to wait longer. So you can go ahead. If we don't, though, we miss opportunities. There's a lot of times we see ways that we could help or little things that we do. We don't send the card. We don't make the phone call. I told you my friend who passed away not long ago, I just texted him a week before he passed away, and I hadn't talked to him in quite a while. And after he died, I thought, why didn't I make the call? Why didn't I just pick up the phone and call? I missed an opportunity. And we all do. They're there every day.
Yeah.
I was thinking that same thing, Dan. This has been a couple months now, but there was a lady who meant so much to. In fact, she was my mom's best friend over the years, and this was back in Iowa at our home church, and their family was so important to our family. Her husband had passed away. I had heard that she was not doing real well or feeling well, and she would come to my mind every so often. And I told Karen I need to just pick up the phone and give Irene a call. And I never did it. And before I could, she passed away. And it was another one of those things when you sense a nudge, that's God. That's God nudging you, whether it's a phone call, whether it's a text, whatever that is, or even if you're out in the parking lot of the grocery store. And that happens to me for some reason frequently when I'm out in a store, a grocery store, a hardware store, or whatever. My mind tends to go because I see these people that are a little immobile and feel like I need to help them or take their cart. One lady was trying to help a handicapped man into actual husband into her car after getting groceries the other day. And so I ran over to the car and just helped her some and took the card and put it back for her. And she was just so grateful. I just don't think that happens enough. I don't think people look for those little things that can truly make a person's day.
Yeah. And you do that so well, Terry. No, but I remember right after Beth's funeral, we were there and you and Scott helped this lady walk across the street. Remember, she couldn't get in the parking lot.
That's right. She was
you guys
so
jumped out of the car and you helped her across the street. I'll never forget that. That was an act of kindness.
Yeah. We have to remember when those situations arise, because it's so easy to say, oh, I don't have time. I got to get going. I've got this or that. But really, at this age, do we have anything that's that life-shattering that we can't take a few minutes to help somebody?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's missed opportunities. And of course, we have to look for them. But, it's not only the little things that we can do, the positive things, there's negative things that can creep in, little sins that if we don't watch out, they can destroy your life. And the Bible talks about them.
Yep, it does, Dan. And there's a couple different verses that talk about this. The one I really love, though, and I hope you guys didn't want to use this verse, but I'm going to say it anyways. It was in Ecclesiastes 10:1, where it says, "As dead flies give perfume a bad smell, so a little folly outweighs wisdom and honor." I love that. It's true.
Yeah.
Because, the heart of a wise man is inclined to do right, but the heart of a fool lacks sense. And he shows how everyone, I'll just be blunt, it shows everybody how stupid he is when he's walking down the street. I mean, you just see it in the person that they're being foolish, and there's things that they pass by in helping people too. But I love that verse because I think it really sets it straight on being right and being wrong.
Yeah. I was thinking of James 3:5, where it says, "Even so, the tongue is a little member, and it boasts great things."
Right.
It's easy. The big sins are easy to spot. They're glaring. They're the ones that, like, oh man, people will know if I do that.
Right.
But it's the devil knows that too.
Sure.
So it's the little ones that creep in and slowly start overtaking us. And we don't jump into some big sin, but we do the little thing that starts leaning us that way. I was reading an article the other day about we get so consumed with the glaring big things like death. How many, talking about animals, what animal do you think kills the most people? Our mind immediately goes to a shark or a wolf or a crocodile, and a crocodile might kill 1,000 people a year. Sharks kill 10 people a year. Right. Snakes kill 50,000. But what animal kills the most people?
I got it. Cattle. What? It's the beef. You have heart attacks.
No.
Oh, that's not it?
Mosquito. The mosquito.
Oh.
It has all those diseases, and it kills over 1 million people a year. It's the little thing. We get so focused on the big thing. That's where our mind is. but it's
Yeah.
the little thing that can take us down.
Wow.
Well, Solomon, the wisest man that ever lived, in Solomon 2:15 said, "The little foxes destroy the vines." If you
Yeah.
let one or two of those little sins get into your life, they can grow, they can fester, and they can bring you down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the little things that matter, the little things that count, the little good deeds, a kind word, helping a stranger, a smile, just being there for somebody, a cup of coffee. You know, Beth was so good at that. She loved to just sit and have a cup of coffee and share life with people. We don't take the time to do that because, you know, we got to pay attention to them now or we really will regret it later.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
true.
it's interesting because living down here in Florida now, it seems like it's so much easier even to talk to people in the grocery lines, at the restaurants, anywhere. You know, it's just easier to talk with folks. And I know that when I was living back in California, I really made it a point that when I go to Trader Joe's every other day, it seemed like, but just to say hello to somebody or to smile at somebody, because it made such a difference. And they look at you like, this guy, who is this guy? But then they realize you're just being friendly, you're just being nice, and then they respond to it. And just think what you don't know whatever they're going through, but just giving them a smile or saying a greeting could make their day.
Mm-hmm.
And it could just turn the day around for them. It could be going rotten until at that point, and all of a sudden, hey, this can make my day. Somebody recognized me. Somebody. And they see my worth. They see that I'm a person, you know, and that's I think it's all the difference in the world. And Jesus tells us to do that. That's just what he's saying about loving one another like he loved us. And he smiles at us every day. And that's what at least we can do to somebody else.
You know, Beth used to sit on that couch in our sitting room and say, "Come have a cup of coffee, Dan." So many times I said, "I'm too busy." And, you know, then when she died, boy, that just haunted me. I wish I would have taken the time. And of course, once she got stage 4 cancer, that all changed. I had coffee with her every day.
Yeah.
It's a shame that it takes something like that, though, to realize, you know, and I wasn't spending enough time at home, not having enough family time. Those little things have to become the big things.
Right.
And you realize that you were capable of doing that.
Right.
You just didn't do it.
Right.
And
right.
God, you know, God doesn't expect any more than what we're capable of. You know, we think we've got to do these huge, grandiose things. Well, he wants to take and we've said this time and time again, he wants to take what you have and he'll use it. He even come down to faith. He talks about the faith of a small little mustard seed. That's all you need. You know, that story of the mustard seed is told 5 times throughout the Bible in the Gospels. It's, you know, he just wants a little bit.
Yeah.
And if you'll do the little bit, he'll take care of the rest. Whatever you do, he'll use to further his kingdom and to bless other people.
Yeah.
An oak tree starts out as an acorn.
Yeah.
I mean, a tiny little thing can turn into something huge. I'm sorry, Brian, what were you going to say?
No, I was going to say, in the Bible, how many times did Jesus say to a person, your faith has healed you, or your faith has made you clean, or you know, and it's true. It's that faith that we have in them. It's the little thing, though, that faith that could be just that little mustard seed, but all you have to do is have that, and then something big comes out of it. And you're talking about the acorn, Dana. I look at David. You know, this little shepherd boy who, he's taking on some bears and lions, and that's pretty tough for a little guy. But to take on Goliath, and that was a major task.
That was a new ball game there,
whole new ball game. And just a little guy, and just saying, okay, God, you're not going to offend my God, offend my God like that. And he knew where he was going, and God was going to be with him. But I don't think David, up until then, knew that the greatness that he was going to be. In God's eyes, he was going to be the king, you know, and I don't think he knew it. He's going to be the bloodline to Jesus. It's things that he didn't know. So it's the little thing that he did and that he gave to the Lord, and look what happened with his life.
But the flip side is the little things almost took him down. He made that one decision not to go to war in the spring with the men. And then he ended up going out on the terrace, and then he made just a little decision to linger. And looking at Bathsheba, and we know the story. So it's the little things both ways.
That's a
Yeah.
good point.
I say that to men, when you're tempted, bounce your eyes. Just don't
Yeah.
linger. That's
Yeah.
when you get in trouble. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's when that little thing, oh, what's this going to hurt? Or what's going to hurt if I look at these pictures or that video? Well, it gets you. That's Satan's tool. He gets inside of you and it haunts you.
Yeah.
And so what have we learned today that will help us finish strong? We've learned that the little things count. They matter. Because I think there's going to come a day when we'll look back and we'll realize the little things were really the most important things. It doesn't matter if you write the great American novel, if you star in a movie or you produce a great film. When you die, what do you think you'll think about? Who will you think about? The
Yeah.
people you love, your
Yeah.
family, your friends, your parents, the people that made a difference. I don't think we'll think at all about what were our accomplishments, right? Other than what have we done for the Lord?
Right.
Totally agree. That's something I made a note of here, that my plans moving forward are going to be relational. It's going to be, and it's not too late even today to deepen relationships with other people and establish new ones. But if we could tell younger people anything, it would be what you just said, Dan. It's
Yep.
relationships impacting people's lives are key, however small, however big. And you're right. Those big dreams, sometimes they fade. Sometimes they're not where God's leading us. As long as we're walking where he wants us to walk and fulfill those relationships, he's going to bless it and honor it.
That's a good point, because friendships take work. And I hear guys all the time say, man, I admire you because you have these long friendships. I mean, guys, the three of us, we've been friends for 50 years, but we had to work at staying in touch with each other over the years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing that comes to my mind, Dan, is what you wrote in your book, Hurricane of Love, and you said, just show up. And that's what we need to do every day for everything. I mean, just show up. When something comes to your mind, you said the Holy Spirit puts a name in your mind, show up, give them a call, jot them a note, do something. I know that when my ex-partner in the business and friend Paul Fabian passed away, I thought about him for a couple months before. It kept coming to my mind, but I didn't call him. And then I got a call one day that Paul had passed, and I thought, "Oh my gosh, I didn't even know he was sick." It's just like that. And so I let that opportunity go by. I know where Paul's at. I know that he was a Christian and he was ready. He loved the Lord, but it's just that I didn't get a chance to talk to him again. And I just broke down, and I thought, "Why am I crying?" And I thought, because I'm not going to see him again here in this earth. I lost that chance, and so I don't want that to ever happen again.
We all know when that nudge is the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
Terry, you talked about it earlier, and boy, we got to pay attention to it. We can't push it off. Part of really maturing, I think, is learning to listen and for the Holy Spirit and to when God's telling you to do something, don't miss out on a chance.
No,
your chance to make a difference in someone's life. I think I did write in Hurricane of Love, there will come a time when we'll realize that the small things are really the big things.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I have found myself trying to be more proactive and strategizing or making a plan. And I'm trying to make an effort to, like, once a day or 4 to 5 times a week, go through my phone and just scroll through names and see who the Lord kind of puts on my heart to give a call. Or so, isn't it great to get a call from a friend out of nowhere, just to tell them that, or just to have them tell you they're thinking about you and wondering how things are going. How easy is that for us to do? But if you don't proactively make the plan to do it, the odds are it's not going to get done. So that's kind of, I think, my takeaway out of this podcast is I'm going to be more proactive in trying to actually set those plans in place to deepen those relationships.
Yeah. I think that's absolutely spot on, Terry. And I agree with you, because I know so many times I get calls from friends of mine, and one particular up in Ohio. Hi, Mike. Everybody knows Mike here. He'll call me just out of the blue, just wanting to chat. How are you, man? What's going on in your life right now? Everything good? And you know how much I appreciate that. And I think, how many times have I reciprocated to that? I have, I don't call him Mike as much as he calls me. And I think about that now, especially when we're going through this program and we were putting it together. That was one thing that kept coming to my mind.
So what did we learn? We learned that you need to make the call. You need to write that card, send that text, help that person who can't pay you back. Let someone in line in front of you tip generously, live generously, be generous with your time. Yeah. The little things matter. That's for sure. Well, guys, it's been another great Finish Strong, and we're learning every episode how we can do that and press on for that great prize and hear the Lord say, "Well done, good and faithful servant." Our thanks to John Matarazzo, Terry, and Brian. Thank you, and we hope you'll join us for the next edition of Finish Strong.
Thank you for listening to Finish Strong. For more information about Finish Strong and Fearless Faith, check out their website, ffaith.org. Make sure that you rate and review this podcast to help more people accomplish their God-given purpose so that together we can finish strong.